Today we're going to have a look at simplifying fractions. Simplifying fractions, even though it is quite a basic skill, is very, very important in terms of basically all the types of fraction questions you can be asked. It's often an additional 1 mark on the end of a multiplying fractions or an adding fractions questions, whereby they ask you to leave the fraction in its lowest or most simplified terms. Okay, we're going to have a look at what simplifying fractions actually means in terms of two cakes. Now, the cake on the left, I've split up into 2 pieces. The cake on the right, which I'm shading now, I've split up into 4 pieces. The cake on the left, hopefully you'll recognize that's been split up into halves, okay? And I've shaded 1 half, 1 out of the 2 parts, so I've shaded half the cake. The cake on the right has been split up into 4 equal parts, has been split up into what you know as quarters, and this time I've shaded 2 out of the 4 parts, so 2 quarters. Now, in total, if you were to eat this part of the cake, for example, you'll notice that 1 half and 2 quarters actually give you the same amount of cake. They're cut into different size pieces, okay, but they give you overall the same size cake. So 1 half is actually equal to 2 quarters. These two things are exactly the same, it's just they're written slightly differently, okay? So we're going to have a look now at types of questions you can be asked for simplifying fractions. So examples, question 1, 4 over 12. Now 4 over 12, we're going to try and rewrite that, but this time making the bottom number, the denominator, the smallest that it can be. Now we can't just change it as we want, okay? We have to keep it in balance of what we do to the numerator, the top number, and the denominator. So in fractions, you will have heard of whatever we do to the top number, we have to do to the bottom number, and vice versa. Obviously, that still stands here. So to simplify it, to get it as small as I can be, what I always want to ask myself is, what number can I think of which goes perfectly into 4 and into 12? Now, the number that I'm going to think of to start with is going to be 2. 2 goes into 4 and goes into 12. So, equals, how many times does 2 go into 4? It goes in 2 times, so that's where the 2 comes from. How many times does 2 go into 12? It goes in 6 times, so that's where the 6 comes from. However, I can simplify this even further, okay? And the reason I can do that is because I can think of a number which still goes into the 2 times table and the 6 times table. And the number which goes into 2 and 6 perfectly is 2 again. 2 goes into 2 1 time, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So the lowest I can get that answer is 1/3. I can't get it any smaller than that, okay, because there's no number which goes into 1 and 3, apart from 1, in which case it would just leave you with a third anyway. Okay, but if you would have chose a different number to start with, so if you recognize that 4 goes into 4 and into 12, you would have noticed that 4 goes into 4 once and into 12 3 times. So you would have got to the same answer in the end, you just would have got there slightly quicker. Question number 2 is going to be 18 over 48, and I've got that equals as 9 over 24. I've picked the number 2 again. 2 goes into 18 9 times. 2 goes into 48 24 times. Can I simplify it further? Yes, I can, because I know a number which goes into 24 and 9, and that number is 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 24 8 times. So the lowest I can get this fraction is 3 over 8. There's no number now which I can think of which goes perfectly into 3 and into 8, so I know that I have to stop. Likewise, if you would recognize that 6 went into 18 and 6 went into 48, you would have got to 3 over 8 1 step quicker than I have in this video, okay? So it's not that important what number you pick, okay? As long as it's a number which goes into the top and the bottom number. It can be as small as you want. It's just going to make you make more steps before you get to the final answer. If you can quickly pick out the biggest number which goes into both perfectly, you're going to get to the answer slightly quicker, okay? So it doesn't matter what order you do it in, okay? Just that you do it step by step until you get to a stage whereby you can't get the fraction any smaller. 125 over 175. Now, this is a massive fraction. Okay, bigger numbers this time. I asked myself, what numbers can I think of that go into 125 and 175? I could say 5, so we could have done it like we done the top two, just the smallest number I can quickly think of that goes into the top one and the bottom one, 5, and I could work up that way. Or I could pick a bigger number, and I can actually recognise that 25 goes into both of these. So 25 goes into 125 5 times, and 25 goes into 175 7 times. If you had gone with 5, you would have eventually got to the same answer, just taking up more steps. So simplifying fractions, quite easy to do. All you want to ask yourself is, anytime I see a fraction, can I think of a number which goes perfectly into the top one and into the bottom one? If I can simplify it. When do I stop? Well, that's when I can't think of a number which goes perfectly into the top one and into the bottom one.